Ever since 2015, when Paul Rudd first donned the Ant-Man costume in Ant-Man 1, we have been waiting for more of his story. He was the hero of Endgame. Well, aside from the rat. But he did prove that a small hero can do big things. And now one of our favorite characters that's not in the main six has gone into his third film in his own trilogy. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania was in our opinion, very good film from phase 4 of the MCU. And that is what we're here to talk about all today. So stick around, don't go shrinking on us, and don't go away. Into the Quantum Verse we go. Episode 7 of Season 4 is right after this. Please stand by.
And you're tuned in
no,
to the
Holly, that's my line. You're tuned in to the Bear and Beard podcast. Enjoy the show.
It's like they're lining up. Well, they're excited.
What's going on, fandomites? Welcome to or back to the Bear the Beard podcast. I am one of your hosts, Robert the Bear, coming to you live from the Nerd Bear Cave. The Nerd Cave, the Bear Cave, whichever. I'm joined, as always, by my majestically bearded, faithful co-host, Bearded Brian Guy, the Beard. Brosius Mayo, my guy.
Mayo Brosius, my dude. Mayo Brosius to you, Nerd Squatch.
Mayo Brosius to you.
Yes, our third co-host also as well. On his return from his acting hiatus for the show. How was Oliver, Jay?
Oliver was wonderful.
I'm so glad to hear it. I did not get a chance to get down and see that. We've been very, very busy all around. Brian's been busy. Jay's been busy. I've been busy. Do have a few quick announcements for you just at the beginning of the episode. Thank you to Dog Mud for having us out to their second birthday back on the 1st of April. That was a blasty blast. We love that whole team there. Can't wait to celebrate every year moving forward that we can. We do have a live episode recorded there at that event that will be on the Patreon very, very soon. And if you haven't signed up for the Patreon yet, that's where all our live talking nerdies are from the past, year. Starting with MobyCon from May of last year, and every event we've recorded one at since. So definitely go and check those out. And of course, as always, all the remaining funds at the end of the month go to charity, to Children's Mississippi Hospital. So you're not really, it's no profit. We're not making money off of you. You're getting something, and the children are getting something. So thank you so much. Also, looking forward to a different charity event coming up at the end of April. April 29th, we'll be helping Kara, our local no-kill shelter here in Jackson, Mississippi, by going to their Dog Days of Summer event in cosplay. It's going to be me, Hombrolo, and Little Oso Cosplay, and a few other cosplay friends of ours. Joey the Bat, our professional Batman cosplayer, is joining our team for that epic team-up event. And that should be a lot of
Batman
fun.
Cosplayer, by the way.
Yes. Photos to follow, of course, after that event. So be on the lookout for those. And that's it. I guess let's get into this episode. All right.
I am very excited to talk about the Quantum Verse.
Yes. Into the quantum realm we
the
go.
The multiverse of Quantum. I mean, these Marvel titles are all kind of running together at this point. But
like the Avengers.
Yeah. I did see a post the other day that said, so let me get this straight. Spider-Man No Way Home is all about Peter Parker breaking the multiverse because he wants people to forget who he is. And then Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is all about him finally going to the dark dimension with no actual way home. Why wasn't it Doctor Strange No Way Home and Spider-Man in the Multiverse of Madness? So
This is factual. But then we get into the debate of the Star Wars movies, how they're actually misnamed, and you can flip around their titles.
I saw that video
and
too,
it worked better.
and they make way more sense. Yes,
It
yes.
does. But George Lucas had his vision, and we all enjoy it. At least
Actually, all 9. I saw a video the other day that had all 9 of them laid out, and it's like this one should be called this one should be called this, with the basic plot of each of them, and it was really fun. But so this is the 3rd movie in the Ant-Man trilogy. Ant-Man, now the 4th hero to get 3 films to get a trilogy.
sounds right to me.
Captain America, Iron Man, well, not in any particular order, but Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor all have trilogies, and now Ant-Man has a trilogy. Oh, Spider-Man, sorry.
Spider-Man
yes,
has
fifth.
a trilogy too.
5th one to
Now,
get it. 5th one to
technically,
get a
you
trilogy.
could say
Avenger.
any of the members of the Guardians of the Galaxy will soon have a trilogy.
They will soon have a
And
trilogy.
the
as well.
Avengers have a trilogy.
Yes.
Well, the big
yeah.
well, they have a saga.
We're just gonna stretch it.
They have a saga now, because
Yeah.
anything over 3 is a saga. So with the 4th installment being Endgame, they have a saga. So yeah, but yes, George those various ranks is the point. Worthy of it, I think. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
What's that? I couldn't hear that for some reason. It cut out.
What, of me? Oh,
Yeah.
worthy of the trilogy, I believe.
Yes.
Like the cast, the stories they're telling, the character alone. I mean, Ant-Man, once you get away from the woman abusing alcoholic Hank Pym, is a very good character.
Oh, we're talking comics?
Well,
Briefly.
yeah. Well, I mean, there had to be a reason that there was a problem. Like, we see Hank in a few like flashback scenes where he was just a dick. So
I mean, he is kind of a dick.
But what's
Yeah.
great about what they did with him in the movies is instead of him being like that, they made him be someone who's basically sickened and deadened over the loss of his wife.
yes,
Instead of treating her badly, her absence makes him angry and makes him a dick.
And
I
you see
did-
that change at the end of the last Ant-Man movie when he's reunited with Janet. He has his wife back.
And
He
in the
has his
first
life
few
back.
scenes of this, he's a totally different dude.
Absolutely. Which this movie also has something very special because the 3 of us actually got to go see this movie together in theaters
yes.
in Pensacola, Florida. That was an experience. And Bear, I believe, is running to grab his trophy,
Popcorn bucket.
the popcorn bucket. That Jay and I were like, "There's no way he's gonna buy that thing."
Y'all don't know me very
He
well.
bought that thing because why
Yes.
wouldn't you? It's beautiful and it lights up.
I've thought about hollowing it out and giving it to
Doesn't
my
it
kid
light
as
up?
an actual helmet. Yeah, it's lit up. This is it not
Oh,
lit up. This is
okay.
it lit up.
I
So
see.
yeah, and this is actually really cool tech. Like, because on the inside you have this plastic covered 5 LED light thing in the bottom of the bucket. So it's not going to interfere with the poppy corn, but you can always see the poppy corn, which is very cool. And then I noticed when we're sitting in the dark theater and I had it full of popcorn, I was like, if you look at his eyes with popcorn in it, it looks like little ants crawling behind his lenses. So-
Trying to turn it into a Sam Raimi movie.
right?
But, I mean, it was just very special to have this moment because the 3 of
Yes.
us have talked so much Marvel together, but we've never been able to sit in the same room and just conversate during a Marvel movie and be like, oh my God, look at that. And like, we're there. And we got to walk out of the theater, talk about it more. I will always treasure that experience with,
Me
with
as
you
well.
guys.
Yeah, we've coordinated a lot
Yeah.
of viewings where it's like, oh, you're going to see it today? All right, well, I'm going to see it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or, hey, Jay went and saw it today. I'm going to go see it tomorrow. Brian, when are you going to see it? Oh, you're going to see it tomorrow too. All right, cool. Let's do a group call right after me and you get out of the theater, and we did our non-spoiler reviews and stuff. And
Yep.
I honestly forgot that we should have done that.
We should have,
at
because it
VidCon.
would have been the first spoiler-free review that we could do together.
Yes,
Hey.
but
We had a lot
also
going on.
we spoke all about that movie all the way back to the Verbo.
Yeah.
Like
I
that
mean-
was our topic of conversation. It was amazing.
I mean, we can kind of say this without getting too specific, but I guess we can thank Jonathan Majors for this still being relevant.
Yes. and for anyone that is look, if you're new to the show and you're expecting us to talk about the real life things going on with Jonathan Majors, you've come to the wrong podcast. I'm sorry to disappoint you.
I'm not informed enough about it to even talk about it.
We do
personally.
hope you stick around to listen to the rest of what we have to talk about the movie, but we're not going to talk about Jonathan Majors and what he's currently going through in public, in the public eye right now. That's not us. We don't do politics. We don't really get into real life hype or not hype, whatever, anti-hype. We also don't get into real life anti-hype too much.
Yeah.
So we're not going to talk about that. So what we will say, or what I will start off by saying, is Jonathan Majors did an amazing job finally playing the Conqueror.
100%. He rocks that throne. I kid you not.
Yeah, the town chair, he rocks it.
Yeah.
But this movie did not mess around getting started. We got a little bit of time outside in regular world, and then boom, we're thrust right into the madness, and literally thrust in. They didn't hesitate at all to start the action.
And we had this conversation off of recording, but you had even said though it was quick to jump into, here's where we're going, everyone's going to the quantum realm, it's done, said and done, whatever. They still had just the right amount of time to set up that Cassie has her own thing going on.
Yep.
She's got opinions. She's that opinionated teenager now. And she's almost just as smart as not only her grandfather, but her father as well. And they also had enough time to set up Janet Van Dyne's kind of PTSD of being in the quantum realm without it just being a throwaway line or anything like that. They had plenty of time and still jumped us right into the action, right into the meat of the movie.
I was not expecting, I felt like Janet Van Dyne was going to be like how Hank was in some of these movies. She's the background character. But sometimes this felt like more of Janet's movie than Scott's. And I'm not saying that as a complaint. It just,
no,
it was.
It's like Janet and Kang's movie.
Yeah.
But you think about it, these titles can really be stretched to the imagination. This movie is called Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. Both of them are wasps, and both of them are Ant-Men. That is a fact. So as much as it focuses on Janet and Hank, it's because they are also Ant-Man and the Wasp. They mirror an older version of Scott and Hope.
Yes.
And then their daughter is, Scott's daughter is the next generation. Which, by the way, they had to know what they were doing with this movie back when they did the first Ant-Man.
Yeah,
because
the thing y'all pointed out to me,
it was Jay.
Blew my mind.
Jay, take the floor because that was perfectly worded.
I've seen it going around the internet, and I happened to mention to y'all that in the first movie, Cassie gets that little ugly bunny from her dad on her birthday, and she says, "He's so ugly, I love him." And when she gets to the quantum realm, she isn't afraid nor turned off nor scared of the inhabitants of the quantum realm, despite their freakish nature. It's a very cool full circle moment.
It's so cool too, because we do essentially a complete 180, which I normally point out as a flaw with the MCU films. Okay, you're finally doing another film that has these characters in it. You're exploring this world that you've already talked about, and you've already kind of set up ground rules for. Now, granted, they did that 100% with this movie, because the original thing was nothing can survive at the quantum level. If you go quantum, you can never come back, and all these other things that Hank says to Scott. And it's supposed to be this big thing.
Fundamental truth. It's like a
it's
fundamental
supposed to be a
truth. There's no
fundamental truth.
life down there. There's just madness
right.
and chaos.
And it also adds to the drama of the first film, because that's what he has to do to save the day. But then he comes back. And then the second movie. And so instead of just doing a complete 180 from first film to third film, we had the bridge movie, Ant-Man and the Wasp, where it's like, okay, we're learning more about the quantum realm because you went there. So we want to try to understand it better. And then they're like, oh, and by the way, Janet's there. So now we can go and get her. So that sets it up for this film, which also end of Ant-Man and the Wasp leading into Endgame, they also found out that you could time travel through the quantum realm. So instead of doing a complete 180 from one film to the other, it was like a slow, gradual turn. And I like that better, because if they had just completely dismissed the first movie with this film and been like, oh yeah, by the way, everything we said in that first movie, that's not real. That doesn't even stand up to our standards of reality. We're going to go back on that 100%. I would have disliked this film, because it's like, okay, so just to tell me the story you're telling me, you completely abolished what he went through in the first film, but they didn't do that. And that was one thing I have to give them credit for, because we've seen other franchises do that. Looking at you, Michael Bay, and your Transformer films. By the fifth movie, you're like, oh yeah, by the way, the first three movies never happened. Everything we set up in those, that reality doesn't exist. So yeah, but I thought it was very well done. You're right. The Ant-Man and the Wasp title could go to Hank and Janet just as easily as it can to Hope and Scott. Speaking of names, does Cassie's superhero have a name? Did I miss it?
Yes.
I know she has
I
a
don't remember
specific color.
It's not stated in the movie, and it's really convoluted, because in the comics, when she wears this suit, the purple one with the black detailing and the silver helmet, she goes by Stinger.
Okay.
But she goes by Stature in the MCU, which is her other name.
Stature.
I mean, that's a good name too, though.
Yeah.
So
I just like Stinger because it ties her to her family.
Well, yeah, ants and wasps both have stingers. It would be better, but Stature's a good one too, especially since we established that she has her own ideas. Like when we first see her in the film, she's been arrested.
Yes.
So, and Scott's trying to do the whole, oh, you shouldn't be doing it like this. It's like, you mean exactly like you did, Father?
Yep.
Reminds me of that old joke, like, how are you going to be strict on your kids about drugs when you have a pot leaf tattooed on your arm? So.
It's true. It's true.
I was trying to find this photo of Veb, but it won't load. But Veb was one of my favorite parts of this movie. They get down to the quantum realm. They have no way to understand these people. And all they have to do is just drink.
Oh, this is the whole guy? You're like, how
many holes do you have?
David Dessaltian. Yeah.
Also, another side character literally defining cameo, Bill Murray being in this film.
Yeah. I actually forgot he was in this movie, even though I saw him in this movie.
Yeah.
But he had a great role. It was short, so it was easy to forget with everything that was going on.
Well, it's kind of like Stallone being in Guardians 2. I don't know the character's name, but I know he was in it. And I know he played a character that was in the comics that we had never seen before in the
And
MCU.
Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah. And we haven't seen him since. Well, but
I think they're in 3.
You think so?
I think it's been stated.
That'd be cool. I would love to see that. And And shout out to Michael Douglas too. Like while we're talking about performances, great performance in this film as well.
I loved him in this. He brought the action. I thought there was going to be more of a rivalry between Hank and Krylar, because I thought there was going to be something hinted about Krylar and Janet, which they did hint at, but it wasn't like a big issue. Lord Krylar was only an enemy because he was a traitorous little rat.
Right. I mean, they had so many storylines working in this one film, and they all blend. Like, instead of just like, oh, there's this story over here, and there's this story over here, and there's this other third story, instead of just saying, hey, these all are happening, they actually kind of braided them all into one story almost perfectly. Yeah. Like almost 100% perfectly. I cannot confirm or deny whether I believe that Kang kind of was the glue that braided it all together, but it looked very well done from a storytelling point of view, in my opinion.
The fact that he's such a manipulator, like he...
Right. Yep. Like,
he played a role to convince Janet to help him, and then when Janet realized what was, I can't remember the name of the thing he sent Scott to get.
Oh, I don't remember either, but it
was like his power source.
Yeah, it was this shrunken thing. It was the time sphere itself for the throne or whatever that could allow him to travel back and forth.
That scene when Janet is like just destroying it and turning it to different atoms, like that blew my freaking mind. I was like, she was not playing around. She saw how evil Kang was, what he's capable of, and she said no.
Yep. Practically destroyed it. Like, amazing that it even stood withstood all of that just to still be around. You know, like for it to even be a plot point at this point. I thought it was very well done.
Can we talk about the world's greatest Avenger?
Oh yes, let's please talk about the world's greatest Avenger. Let's please.
MODOK! Oh, the memes afterwards about how much he's an Avenger.
He's an Avenger now.
He's an Avenger.
Yeah. No, he's great. Even with that one super punch to the face. You know, it was still
good.
Very, very well done. And to all the people that are like, the CGI, what did you expect it to look like?
There's no reason MODOK should have looked anything different than the way he looked.
No.
He looked like MODOK. He's supposed to look a little off.
Yeah.
It's a big, huge head with little tiny arms.
The only time I've ever gotten close is the video game, which is not actual, like it's not actual real life footage. It's all, computer generated images. This is too, but it's supposed to be a realistic computer generated image. So yeah, it looks a little funny, but the battle suit version, amazing.
Imagine that coming at you. The way they have the camera shake, they make you know how intimidating this.
I'm done. If that comes after me, I'm done.
But it really kind of moved fast. Kang sends Scott to go get the thing, and then it turns out that Kang has ulterior motives. What? And
kind of like this guy.
I mean, he did warn us that these other versions of him are not so great.
No.
And man, so far it's been correct. But they all have the same goal. Like they're the same. Like you hear this guy talk. He talks about things the way the other Kang talks about things. They all see themselves as this higher than mightier god, despite the fact that they are not a god. Remember, with all the damage that Kang is about to bring to the MCU, remember he is as much a god as Tony Stark was.
Yep. He's just a man with very futuristic tech. That's all he is. That's all he ever has been in the comics and everything. Kang's main thing from the comics, or at least the ones I've read, but the story that I know is that his main issue is he was born in a time of peace. He thought that was boring, so he used the tech from that era to go back in time, conquer things, then go back forward in time to see if it would be the same. So he was just a bored guy with tech. And then he developed this, okay, I want to go rule, but I can't rule here because it's peacetime. So I'll be stopped here. So let me go somewhere that I can't be stopped. Eventually, by the end of, well, some of the earlier comics that Kang is in, Kang, like He Who Remains, actually winds up going back to try to stop himself because he realizes he shattered the timeline.
Yeah.
And he kind of becomes a hero in a way, in some of the storylines. But in all of them, the Avengers are like, no bueno. Nah, bro. Get out of here. Like, we can't be having this. So I thought that was also one of my favorite few episodes that they did of the Avengers Assembled animated series that they did, was the Kang episodes where Kang sent the Avengers to the future to see what Captain America was going to cause. It's like, yeah, nah, bro, this is all you, man. Like, it's all you.
I remember sitting in the theater, and right before King and Ant-Man were about to fight, Jay leaned over to me and was like, this is hard to watch. And man, it was. Scott got his whooped.
Yeah, for sure. And the sad part is we knew from the trailer the whole I don't have to win. I just have to make sure neither one, like, we both lose.
But that led us to believe that he wasn't going to get out. So what was with that ending then? Like, we got the final battle, typical Marvel final battle, but it felt too good to be true. This has happened too many times. Okay, the hero's victorious, smashes everything to bits, gets out, wins, saves the day.
I think he's in a time loop.
A time loop. Explain it to me, though.
Okay. In that last scene when he's walking back down the street, take note of one thing first. He's not at a book reading, so who is he talking to? Number two, because in the beginning he was at a book reading, remember? Okay, number two, he passes by tons of people in purple green clothing, and then he passes by one couple, and as they pass by him, he looks in front of himself and they're there again. It's very brief and you have to watch it, but I think he's in a time loop. I think he's in a different universe.
And we've said several times before this, Marvel does not leave anything to chance. They don't use extras twice. They know what they're doing in editing. If that had been a mistake,
did in Multiverse of Madness, though.
Yeah, but the thing is, if they in editing were like, "Oh, crap, that same this footage was from this way. Though. This footage was from this way, and it looks like he passed them, but then he sees them again." If that wasn't intentional, they would have taken that out. Right. I feel like, because, dude, the Kevin from She-Hulk knows that we're going to overanalyze these films, and knows that we're not going to leave any detail unturned. There's supposedly still an Easter egg in Guardians 1 that still to this day has not been found. So
we're going to find out about it soon, I think.
Guardians 3 is about to break our freaking hearts. What was everyone's first reaction watching the after credits scene? All the Kangs.
We have the comic book version. and it did look a lot like this.
I was just happy to get
Coliseum.
Immortus.
Yeah.
I thought Immortus was dope.
Me personally, like the three of them talking, I honestly, for a brief second, so you're asking first reaction, for a brief second, I was like, this is the beginning of the Council of Kangs. Like, they're starting to find each other. These are the only three we're going to get. So then when we pan out to the Coliseum full of other versions of Kang,
And they keep coming in.
yeah, my mind was blown. I was like, oh no, I was completely wrong. Like, I thought that it was going to build over a few movies, and they were going to be like, our brother from universe X7125, you know.
We saw what one Kang is capable of. This council is about to wreak havoc on the multiverse.
Mm-hmm. And it's almost easily genius if you think about it.
I
Because
think
now
it's a mislead. I think every
could be
one of
the
those
villain
Kangs is gonna die.
See, I don't know, because see, the way I see it is there's enough different versions of Kang that Kang could literally be the villain in every MCU movie, but be a different version of himself.
Well, not even that,
Moving
because
forward.
yes, because we have the after credit scene for Loki. We know he's going to be a villain in Loki.
Mm.
And then there's also theories, not confirmed, but strong theories that the Ramatut version of Kang is going to be in the next season of Moon Knight, which I could see happening. They got to tie him in somehow.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Like we say, Marvel doesn't do anything on accident.
It would make sense that Mr. Griffin is the guy who bought Avengers Tower and is in Spider-Man 4, maybe.
That, yeah.
What else was the other one? There's another one. Oh,
Yeah. On the Ramatut thing, if he's not going to face off against the Fantastic Four, then he needs to face off against Moon
you're
Knight.
going to say, if not
For sure.
Moon Knight, he'll be in Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Oh, that would be great if that's how we get a Fantastic Four kind of Easter egg from Moon Knight season 2. Like, Ramatut being a thing is what sparks the Baxter Institute into looking into
Or
this
he just
guy.
mentions them.
Yeah, or just mention them. That'd be great.
Yep.
Oh,
Now-
I can't wait.
I want to give my biggest criticism of this movie. It is only a good Ant-Man movie, in my opinion.
Okay.
As far as the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a whole, I think I don't want to say people could skip this movie because you need to know what Kang's motivations are. Because this Kang that supposedly died, nah.
That's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say.
He is still our big bad. That is the Kang.
I don't think that council is going to make it very long, and the last one standing is going to be that one. He's coming back.
Yes,
I
we
think
are
he's
of the same
Beyonder.
mind. They are all going to die.
He has to be the Beyonder. It only makes sense that that's where he went when he got sucked into that machine.
Yeah. I mean,
Secret Wars. Secret Wars.
Because the
Secret
fact that
War.
we have two different Avenger movies that are slotted.
Yep.
One's called Kang Dynasty, so we know Kang's going to be in it, and then the next one is going to have Kang in it. So I think
Unless
the
Doom
amount of
does-
Kang we're about to get, I don't think we are even prepared for.
Oh, we're not. We're not. And like I said, it's something truly genius because literally with Kang being the next big bad after Thanos, you could literally have him be the villain of every Marvel film for the next how long didn't the Infinity Saga take 10
5
years?
I think it's 5 years till the conclusion of this, I think.
Okay.
The next saga that I think it's either, I don't know, they've confirmed it, but I've heard it might be mutant related. But I think
See, and that'd be great. But no matter how long it takes, for the rest of this saga, you could literally have a Kang variant be the bad guy in every film, and it would make sense. it's kind of genius, really, because everyone thought like, oh, now that they've done time travel in Endgame, they can just use that for any explanation, any big thing that comes up, they can just fix it. And then that got swiped away real quick within Phase 4. It was like, oh yeah, by the way, that technology no longer, we don't use that. We're not using.
Well, I mean,
it
there's
anymore.
still people using technology. The TVA's using it. And so Loki's
Right.
going to be involved in time travel stuff. The point is that time travel's not the solution here.
No,
Because it doesn't matter what time you go to. It doesn't matter what Earth you go to. Kang is the threat. And so you can't hide in any corner of reality from Kang.
That's what makes him such a great and yet easy villain, in my opinion. Because, like I said earlier, in the comics, he just starts out as a bored guy that can't rule his own time because it's a peacetime. So he goes back and starts conquering times before his time with no care of what it's going to do to the timeline. And then after so many instances where he goes back, but not only that, it gets more convoluted than that. The Council of Kangs is a great example. He goes back to a time, ruins that timeline, and then goes back further from that time to the point where in the comics, there is a version of Kang, He Who Remains, that is trying, doesn't ever succeed, but tries to go back and kill every version of Kang because he's toward the end of the spectrum to where he's like,
I thought that was Immortus.
Well, it is Immortus, but he's like He Who Remains,
and He Who
because he's
Remains
the last one.
comic is a TVA agent.
Yeah.
He Who Remains is going to come back again. Like, he already told us how this is going to end. This is just the multiversal war again. It's going to end eventually, and He Who Remains is going to basically be reincarnated.
Yep.
He already said, we're just going to go right back, right around again.
That's another option, is that the Kang from Quantumania turns out to be He Who Remains.
That theory works too. Yeah, because we talked about how you travel through the quantum realm to go through time. That could be how he got himself outside of time
at the end.
Yeah, so that's another possibility.
Y'all,
or took him to
y'all. Crackpot theory. Y'all ready for a crackpot theory?
Yes, I love crackpot theories. Let's do it.
All right, this guy right here, this version of Kang, He Who Remains, is this version.
That's what I was just saying.
Yeah.
Prior. Like, that's what you were saying?
Yeah,
okay.
I was saying
that the Kang in Quantumania, after he got sucked into the engine, wound up where Alioth is, and that's how he discovered Alioth, weaponized Alioth.
But I see the difference in what you're saying, Brian. What if when he gets sucked in
the opposite way?
To the machine. Yeah, when he gets sucked into the machine, he becomes He Who Remains, and then when He Who Remains dies, he gets sent to the this guy.
Yeah. What if it's an act?
I can see that.
What if when he's He Who Remains and Sylvie literally said it's just another lie. What if Sylvie was right? What if it was just another lie? Because, okay, hold on for a second. When the Council of Kangs were talking, when they looked out, they were looking out at that same, like, out of the universe, out of the timeline.
It was cracking.
That He Who Remains could see from where he was. So they're in the same realm, right?
Ooh, yeah, promo time, yeah!
This episode of the Bear and the Beard podcast is brought to you by, well, you.
That's right, Fandomites. We have launched a Patreon for the show, and we're asking you to be a part of it.
We are going to take out only what is necessary to keep the show going and to keep attending live events every month.
And the amount of funds still in the Patreon after that will be donated to our friends over the Children's of Mississippi.
That's right. In return for your generosity, the different tiers will receive different things: spring store discounts, exclusive bonus content, freebies at live events, and more.
So it's a win-win-win.
Shut up and take my money.
You help us keep the cost of the show down, get cool perks, and donate to a great cause.
Sounds simple enough. Join the Patreon today and stay awesome.
Stay bearded and
much love. I guess they would have to be.
It's just outside of time.
So what if he was lying the whole time? Like, he was never that guy. That was a performance. Because also think back. No. Like, think back to when he met Janet. When he met Janet, he put on a performance of a certain kind of person to get what he wants.
Yeah. And being Kang, being he who remains, he would know exactly what he needs to say, when he needs to say it,
Alexa,
what he needs to do. He already knows the outcome. Ooh. Is this what it's like for y'all to talk Doctor Who with all the timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly stuff?
a little bit.
Like...
Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff.
But I just thought about, like, this is the most closest we've gotten to having one of these conversations, because it's the first time Marvel's done this. Like, yeah, we had time travel, but they didn't know, we didn't know, because Loki had not come out yet, that the Avengers were essentially creating other timelines that had to be extinguished by doing what they did.
The perfect comparison of Jay's theory and my theory. It's just a classic what came first, the chicken or the egg.
Yes.
One of us is saying the egg came first and the other is saying the chicken came first, but we're both saying the same thing.
Dude. Y'all are blowing my quantum mind over here, guys. Like, that's really good though. Oh man.
Oh my god.
There's so much potential for this franchise. Like, and
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say earlier, well, so I don't know if either one of y'all watch Futurama, but
I used to a while back, but not.
So there's this whole thing that went around when they announced a new season that, why are you doing that? They created the perfect loop, or whatever. It's like, why are you creating more seasons? Well, first of all, just for my Futurama fans, go back and watch the last episode of Futurama. There is no mention of when they're going to go back to, other than the professor saying, we have to go back to a time before I conceived the thought of the time button. He never specifies when that is.
The door open.
Yeah.
Futurama
he never
always left the door open.
Because they had to, because they got canceled so many times. But, so, here's my theory. When Disney finally says, we have made enough Marvel films, we have made enough this, we've made enough that.
Blasphemy.
We're done making TV shows, we're done making this. Marvel is a perfect loop. They could end it with him appearing back in the chair. And it all starts over again.
Just kicking his feet up on the chair.
Yeah.
Or up on the desk, smiling, eating an apple.
I'm still, and this can be crackpot if you think it is, but I really don't think it's that far-fetched. But I really think after Secret Wars, the logical step is reboot.
Yeah.
I swear they're going to. Not fully, but like
A soft reboot?
Like Crisis on Infinite Earths. How at the end of that, the two worlds merged, and whoever was missing from the main timeline was replaced by a new version.
Mm-hmm.
That we'll get a new Tony, a new Steve, a new Thor. Whoever we don't have by the end of Secret Wars, plus the X-Men.
Well, not even to mention Deadpool. Like, Deadpool is heavily being theorized as Deadpool's being pursued with the TVA because he's creating so many anomalies throughout the multiverse.
We also create like 7 in the post-credits.
Yeah.
We also did just this week, the week of recording and the week of release, we did get some new information from Chris Evans, who was asked, and his response was, Steve Rogers still has more stories to tell in the MCU. Now, he didn't specify he was coming back to play Steve. He just said Steve still has more stories to tell in the MCU. So that would actually be a great theory. I'm getting Flash vibes because we had what was it? I can't even remember which Crisis event it was, but one of them ended with Meta, the actual, what would they call it? World Alpha, Earth Alpha, or something like that.
Yeah.
Supergirl existed,
Prime Earth.
Superman,
Earth Prime.
Prime Earth, yeah. And then the season of Flash following that event was actually them kind of freaking out because they got new villains, new versions of their
some
old
people
villains.
who had died were now alive.
Yeah,
That's what I'm talking about.
yeah, no, that'd be great. Like,
that way
borrow
we
that
get-
from DC, please.
You know, you could bring back Red Skull, you could bring back Ultron, which, don't get me wrong, Ultron is totally coming back before any inevitable reboot happens because Armor Wars has to be about Ultron.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be their way of making new stories, so you don't have to go back and watch a gazillion things in order to get caught up.
And I've been saying that because I've met a few people recently who have never watched Marvel, because they weren't in it when it started. I've been into Marvel since the beginning.
Wait, where did you meet these people? One
of my best friends does not watch it.
And it's not that they're not interested in it, they're intimidated by how much you have to know. And so I've been saying for a while now that Marvel needs to start going in a direction where you get a little something if you watch the previous movie, but it's not going to affect.
Yeah.
Like, think about comic books. If you want to pick up some Miss Marvel comic books, you can do that. You don't have to read Captain America and the X-Men and this and that just to read the Miss Marvel comics. And I think Marvel movies should be the same. You should be able to go into the movie. It's shared in the universe. Maybe you get a little something extra for the team-up movie, but the team-up movie should be able to stand alone on its own enough to where you don't have to rely on the setups from the previous movies. That's the direction Marvel needs to go if they want to get a new audience, because the Marvel Cinematic Universe is too big now.
And
sorry.
No, well, I was just going to say, and Ant-Man as a trilogy does that very well because they talk about things that happened in the other films so that you're like, oh, this is what you've been up to this entire time. Like, this is why we didn't see you in this film or this film. Ant-Man and the Wasp did it. Quantumania did it again. So it's very well done in this trilogy, especially, I feel like.
I think Marvel is slowly already doing what I'm requesting, though. Like, think about this movie, Ant-Man. The only things you need to watch before this movie to understand this movie is the previous two Ant-Man movies and the show Loki.
Yeah.
And you can pretty much understand this movie. I think they're slowly edging themselves into that comfortable spot where you can just watch a couple things to understand something.
Well, yeah, and like Werewolf by Night, standalone special presentation. You didn't need to watch anything. She-Hulk, same thing. That series stands apart because the only person in it's Hulk, or that's mentioned in it is Hulk. He was necessary for it. And they talked about the things that were happening in the MCU, just like these movies did.
Yep, and I don't know if y'all follow, I follow Disney news quite religiously and keep up to date on the company, the things.
No, you're a Disney fan? Tell me more.
But, the current CEO, who is also the former CEO, Bob Iger, who I adore, said the other day that Marvel needs to start focusing on quality instead of quantity. And that there is a well of characters that have never been used that they need to start dipping into. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Quit giving me 4 and 3. Give me new people.
Give me a standalone X-Men trilogy.
And then DC needs to get their... I think DC is going to get their stuff together. I think Marvel's going to get a lot more organized. Yeah. And I think we're eventually... I'm going to say it now. Within the next 10 years, I think we could see an amalgamation type movie.
Like a crossover?
Marvel and DC.
I mean, they got along enough to do it in the comics.
James Gunn has talked about it. Yes, he has.
With studio executives.
Yes.
Now,
could you imagine?
I can't imagine. Like, I want to say it's a far-fetched thing, but that's also like Once upon a time, I used to say, oh, that's a far-fetched thing for someone to play Fortnite on PlayStation to game with someone on PC and Xbox. That's a far-fetched, never going to happen thing.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Never say never.
Never say never, because like we discussed in our console wars episode, the console war is over. Yeah. Xbox and PlayStation are making the same console. It just depends on which games you want to play. And some of them are cross-platform. Not all of them. They still each have their own exclusives. So to say that the same thing could happen with Warner Brothers and Disney is not that far-fetched. It won't happen next year, but I think you're right. I can get behind that within the next 10.
It happened in the comics.
Yeah.
And,
twice.
I saw, and here's another idea. Instead of going reboot after Secret Wars, because see, the only Fox property that is currently fully announced besides Deadpool 3 is Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that we're going to see any new X characters by Secret Wars, meaning we will see Hugh Jackman, we will probably see Ryan Reynolds and Patrick Stewart and maybe Ian McKellen, but no one new the MCU versions of these characters. There's a possibility that instead of a reboot, they just redo what they did with the Avengers, with the X-Men. Give me a Wolverine movie, give me a Storm movie, give me and then an X-Men team up and do the same thing but with the mutants.
I just thought about this. Give me 20 years of content and then give me the X-Men versus the Avengers storyline, please. Because it was such a good comic storyline.
It is.
Because it literally was just another Civil War, but completely different. Like, it was completely different.
I see that happening. That may be even the character's introduction, into the universe.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Dude, this movie has opened up so many possibilities. Like, with Kang being who he is, it just is so perfect.
Yep.
And I'm with you, Brian. Like, this film alone, I think it's a great Ant-Man film. It's a so-so MCU film. Like,
it's missing Louise.
It is missing Louise very much.
I say
no.
Yeah.
Why did I also expect Ghost to make an appearance in this film as well?
Because she's going to be in Thunderbolts, and it would have been a really great idea to give us an update, but...
Even an after-credits scene?
Yeah!
Yeah. Hey, or like Lawrence Fishburne comes running into a room and is like, I just got a message from Hank Pym. It says I need to play it for you. And it's because, okay, this would have been perfect. In the comics, when Kang transports, and it happened in some of the shows, when Kang takes the Avengers to the future to show them the future, right? This automated message goes out from Tony to like people like Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Spider-Man, Wolverine, and the Thing. And it's like this hologram, and it says, if you're receiving this message, the Avengers are off-world by no fault of our own, and you now have to step up and be heroes. They could have done that with Ghost. Like, we see Ghost get the message along with Lawrence Fishburne's character who played Goliath, right? He was essentially Goliath.
He was, yes.
Yeah. He said that was his name. I cannot remember his doctor name, but he could
Lawrence
come running
Fishburne
into a room.
Does not remember doing that role, by the way.
Really? I thought it was very well done.
He not that he's against it. He's mentioned in interviews after that movie that he's a Marvel guy and he would love to be in a Marvel movie. I don't think he realized when he filmed that movie that he was filming a Marvel movie.
And he might not have. I mean, I have friends of mine all the time ask, or not friends. Well, I have some friends ask like which characters are which sometimes. So sometimes it's kind of hard to tell. But they're planning. You feel like we're doing DC, I can do this character. It's like, no, sweetheart, that's Marvel. Like, that's a Marvel character. Like, that's not a DC character. So, and there's no way that it's not both sides, like old, young, whatever. So he could just be mistaken. But I think that would have been cool if he'd come running in and been like, I just got this message from Hank, and it won't play unless you're in the room. And then it starts playing, and we get this Michael Douglas just, if you're receiving this message, we're off world of no fault of our own. And it would have taken place right when they went into the quantum realm. Because we also don't know how much time passed while they were there.
It didn't seem like much.
It didn't, but we don't know, because with your theory of him being in a time loop, we don't actually know.
Okay.
Because
Right.
there's no
Think about
thing
the fact
after
the
the
last
fact
time
saying,
he
oh,
was
we've only
in
been
there
gone
for
for
5
3
minutes.
days.
He was in there for 5 minutes, and 5 years passed.
But it was 5 hours for him.
5 hours
5
for
hours,
him,
yeah.
5 years for
Yep.
the world. So,
He was there a few days in this one.
yeah, and since there's no...
That is fishy!
There's
It just
nothing
adds to
at
my
the,
theory.
there's nothing at the end of the film that guarantees
Yeah.
that they came back around the same time they left. There's
Yeah.
no dialogue about it. There's no
And the
newspaper
fact that it
clippings.
looks
There's
like
no...
it does is fishy.
Yeah,
Maybe they did arrive back in time, but they arrived too soon, and it just kind of just didn't work because they were there, and it caused like a paradox, causing a time loop. Who knows? But that ending was weird.
I
And,
didn't
like,
even think about that potential cliffhanger until we started talking about this. Like, that is actually one of the best cliffhangers of the MCU, because there's no actual definition until the next film comes out. If they mention Ant-Man and the Wasp at all, we don't know. Until we see Scott again, for sure, in another Heroes film, we don't know. Because he's going to tell everybody. I mean, he wrote a book about himself, and he listens to himself on tape. Which I thought that was a little weird, personally.
I don't know that
Yeah.
he would tell anybody. He seemed pretty effed up at the end.
Well, yeah, that's true. I don't know. Like, wouldn't he run to the Avengers? I mean, that's what he did the last time.
They're not a thing, man.
Oh, that's right. They're not a thing.
They are currently not an established
I need-
organization.
I need a scene of him trying to call Sam, like on the phone,
Yes.
and he just keeps getting Sam's voicemail. It's like, you've
Just
reached
Sam's
Captain
kicking
America,
in your
leave
butt.
it. You know?
Because
that
they
would be
fighting
good.
Hulks.
Yeah. Oh man, but yeah, no, I think this movie was great. The cast did a great job. The storytelling aspect. My only criticism was there were certain scenes that kind of turned my stomach a little bit, but that's not a criticism of the movie. I wasn't ready for, like, I've kind of gotten my brain wired for like the Doctor Strange kind of turns and stuff like that. Some of that was not okay with me for this film, and but that's not a criticism. It's just one thing I did not enjoy, but it's no fault of the movie itself at all. So, oh man,
It was great.
I think it was a great film.
I watched it twice. I obviously didn't think it was.
Yeah, you watched it twice. You watched it before and then after. So that was, man, that was such a good movie, and I can't wait to see what they do next. I'm with you though, Jay. Don't give me a fourth Ant-Man movie, not yet. Let him show up, or let Hope show up. Somebody, let him show up in another film, kind of like they did with him in Civil War before they put out his sequel.
Yep.
Let him show up in something else once or twice before we actually get a fourth film, because Thor has a fourth film. He's the only one with a fourth film. And if you didn't see our episode about it, we actually very much enjoyed that movie. So this isn't a criticism, but that movie wasn't as necessary as some of the other stories you could have told. I'm glad they put it out. I enjoyed it very much, but we didn't need another Thor movie just yet, because honestly, Endgame was practically a Thor movie to me. because his whole thing was going on throughout the film.
Yep.
So I didn't need it. I enjoyed it, but I didn't need it.
Right.
So, and now with the news that like, oh, Disney specifically Marvel is going to start pulling their content, that news coming out this week as well. It's like, I wouldn't mind that. Like, give me a movie a year or a movie every 2 years. Space it out. Because I've said that before. Yeah. I'm getting a little oversaturated myself, and I'm a huge Marvel fan, but I don't want to burn myself out on one of my favorite franchises.
We haven't had a Star Wars movie in like 6 years.
Right. Well, that is a completely different universe.
It's still the truth, you know.
Yeah, but we have had 2 TV shows that continue the story on, which is great. I haven't watched Mando, but from what I hear y'all talking about it, it's great. What is it? Boba Fett, Mando's season 1, 2, and 3.
Andor.
Oh, Andor. I forgot about Andor. And Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan. Yeah. But here's the thing, and this goes to show with everything. Visual effects, how many television shows they're giving instead of movies. But Lucasfilm is so obviously so much more careful with their content. They obviously care so much more about what they are doing.
Right.
Because the VFX on Mandalorian are stunning. Meanwhile, Werewolf by Night kind of hails the best VFX, and they're all pretty practical.
Right. Well, I mean, and there's something to be said.
And
we need to do an episode about just special effects and VFX in their entirety.
Your artists.
Yeah, because I'm of the mindset that yes, of course that was stunning because most of it was practical and it was easy, but also because they knew they were going to whitewash a lot of stuff, like they were going the black and white route. So that also comes down to some of the editing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It allows them to do more with less.
Deeper fabric too, because it's all muted color.
Right. Look at the first episode of WandaVision. They did a lot of practical on that, and it's one of the best episodes, in my opinion.
Well, that whole show's visual effects are amazing.
They're fantastic. Welcome back, Brian.
I had to go switch my laundry.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay.
But yeah, we were just talking about the VFX and stuff. That was my only.
Oh yeah, people need to lay off. People need to lay off VFX artists though, because they are bringing to life something that does not exist. I compare it to like when you go to the theater and you see the person who's wearing all black moving the thing. You don't say, "Oh, I saw the person." No, it's you got to get lost in the imagination. Right. Should they try their best? Yes. Should they improve them as they go along? Absolutely. But these VFX artists are also overworked, and there's not as many.
That's what I was getting ready to say. This whole thing kind of ignores the fact that they're overworked and underpaid.
Right.
Exactly.
It's not that they can't produce good work. It's almost at this point that this is a protest.
Yep.
In my opinion, it is almost them saying, "Pay us, or we will not work as hard as you want us to."
As they should, as they have the right to do.
Because again, like I told Bear just a few minutes ago, you're watching Mando this season. Look at the difference. Lucasfilm cares about what they're putting out. These VFX
yes, except they've went down with Grogu. Grogu is starting to look a lot more fake, in my opinion.
I thought he looked as real as he could today.
I'm still enjoying it.
I thought he looked great today, but my thing is, and another thing about Marvel and Lucasfilm is that Marvel outsources so much stuff to different countries that half of those people don't know what they're animating. Mm-hmm. They're just reading it off of the script and doing something.
That's true.
So
that is true.
You know, and Lucasfilm is all in-house. Every bit of it in-house. So, you know, there's just so much business to it, and so much who pays who sends what. It's wild. It's why I stick to the stage.
Stick to the stage.
We don't do that stuff.
All right. Well, I think I've said all I can on the film.
I have too.
I do have some talking nerdy stuff for us to get to, if we want to do that, and then we'll wrap it up after that with our ratings.
Hello, can you hear me?
Each episode, the Bear and the Beard ask a question that they want your input on, along with sharing comments, suggestions, and other things they have already collected. They love to hear from their fans, so let's get nerdy with it.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. So from our Facebook group, Talking Nerdy, which you are more than welcome to come and join. Just come and like the Facebook page and you'll automatically get invited. When we posted our Fungus Among Us Part 2, we got some interesting fun facts from our friend Tom.
Fungus fun facts?
Fungus facts.
Tom's a fun guy.
Fun facts, fungus among, I don't know. But yes, Fungus Among Us fun facts. Tom said, fun fact / spoiler. You referenced Ellie and Riley uploading a pic to Facebook in the video game. If the pandemic happened in 2003, as the show says that it did, does Facebook ever get created?
Nope.
So maybe that's why they left my favorite joke out.
The show moved it 10 years.
Moved it forward 10 years?
Yes. The game starts in 2003 because the game came out in 2013. The show came out in 2023. The pandemic starts in 2013. It's always a 10-year difference.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, so it would have been invented.
It would have. So they just didn't acknowledge it.
Yeah. Which is fine. Like I said, it didn't make me hate the episode. I was really looking forward to that joke.
And if she was born, don't they kind of make the insinuation, at least in the show, that she was born during it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like in the middle
maybe
of
she never knew because
Yeah.
they never gave her
Right. Another fun fact from Tom, episode 6, Ken, actress Rutina Wesley, aka Tara for True Blood fans, plays Tommy's wife, Maria.
Yep.
So that's where some of our other fandomites may have seen Maria, for sure. And then finally, and this, I love this. This is probably one of the first ones we've ever gotten of this. Tom responds to Sergio. So, and finally, replying to Sergio hates everything. Lighten up, dude. I do agree on Pedro Pascal as stoic guy in helmet as far as range of emotion for the Mandalorian. You could say that about that whole people of Mandalore with helmets. I mean, they could be stunt performers and actors doing voiceovers for all we know. But Pedro in The Last of Us, his pain emotes memes that will forever live on the internet. He's that good.
and also, just to back him up, because he did bring it up, Jon Favreau doesn't play Paz Vizsla anymore. The stunt actor that's in the suit voices him now. Mm-hmm. So they're starting to do that.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to have a stunt actor wear a suit and you're not using the iconic voice, like, look, if they switched out Pedro Pascal with someone else for Mando next season, I'd know it. I'd know it in a heartbeat. But if you swapped out any of the other Mandalorians, I probably wouldn't notice.
I would notice with Bo-Katan because I've heard that actress talk about the way that she embodies that character, the way that she walks. I think someone could tell.
I'm not gonna lie. Oh, sorry.
No, well, I was also gonna say, but she also takes her helmet off a lot. So I don't think that what Mando. So, but I haven't seen this new season, so no spoilers.
Well, since you mentioned it, the possibility, talking about them switching Pedro Pascal out, I kind of feel like something in that vein is going to happen, but more in a Doctor Who way. In a way that this show's title is not referring to anyone in particular, and that Din Djarin could possibly, because he's Moses in this whole ordeal, he is the Mandalorian Moses. He's trying to lead them back to Mandalore, to their home planet. But what did Moses not reach? Moses never reached the Promised Land. So I have this gut feeling that something's going to happen to Din, and Bo will be the title character for the next few seasons, because they've mentioned her getting a show, but what if it's just The Mandalorian?
Yeah.
Along those lines, what if the Mandalorian of the show is Grogu? Grogu is the Mandalorian.
That too.
From the beginning.
Too.
He could just be the Mandalorian. Yeah.
This is his story. Becoming a Mandalorian.
The original Mandalore was both Jedi, or is that right? Was both Jedi and Mandalorian? Or no, the first person to tame a mythosaur and wield the darksaber was, at least. Yeah. But I think it's going to come full circle. Grogu lives both paths. Because they're saying that Bo does, but Grogu really does.
Yeah.
It was Tar Vizsla, whoever he was.
Yeah, in season 2 of The Mandalorian, she was one of my favorite characters.
Oh yeah, she's great.
That I knew nothing about, like, because I'm not a huge in-depth Star Wars fan. So for her to show up and just be an unknown for me was really, really well done. Yeah. I can't wait for this season to be over so I can binge watch it.
2 more episodes.
2 more episodes.
Also another comment from our Facebook page. This one coming from our friend Gabriel. It was just us promoting the who wants to guest star on this episode. But on our comment for who wanted to be on the Fungus Among Us Part 2, Gabriel just left us a funny comment. Said, my friend called it, quote, baby, it's mold outside. So, and I'm a little sad now that we didn't think of that as a title for those 2 episodes.
I mean, have y'all seen the thing about the nursing home? I don't know if it's really true or not, but I saw someone on TikTok post, they were recording their news, and that ticker said fungal infection, it was like fungal disease outbreak in a nursing home.
Ooh.
And I was like, oh, so not an infection, a fungal disease.
Ominous. Oh, and then Tom also shared this photo, and I'm going to show it to you guys because y'all have seen it. I'll put it on the screen here. The stay behind me, Grogu, and Ellie goes, what?
Oh my god. New Rockstars has a t-shirt for sale that has Joel and Grogu on it, and it says Child Protection Services.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I think it's pretty great.
And for our nerdy topic of this week, it is going to be Ant-Man related. Which version of Kang do you want to see next? Like, forget that anything's been announced. Which Kang variant are you most excited to see on either the small screen or the big screen moving forward? We'll start with Brian.
Ramatut, because I know nothing about him, and I'm so excited.
Okay. Jay?
There is currently no established possibility or no established any hint towards this, but I'm really excited to see Iron Lad if they do it.
Yeah. I think I'd have to go with Iron Lad as well. Just because I think that would be a great villain for Ironheart to fight. And I know that we haven't talked Wakanda forever, but we have all finally seen it.
And he's not really even a villain.
And I think Ironheart and Iron Lad team up. And I think that would be a great variant to show up next. Would be amazing. Yeah. So let us know which Kang variant you would like to see next. Forget that things have been announced. Just if you were in charge of which Kang variant came out next, which one would you like to see? Tell us a little bit of how they would show up in the MCU as well. If you want, you can send all of that to all the links that are in this or that are mentioned in this outro, and they're also in the episode description. Check those out.
Be sure to send in your response to this week's Talk Nerdy topic, and any other nerdy stuff like episode topic suggestions, fan theories, or cosplay photos so we can put it in future episodes. If you think it's nerdy, we want you to share it. The Talk Nerdy links like the email and website are in the episode description as always. And don't forget you can also call or text the Nerd line. That number is in the description as well. That's all for now. Let's get back to the show.
Right, we are back just in time to give our ratings and everything. But before we do so, another final reminder to, if you've made it this far in the episode on YouTube, go hit that the like button for the video and the subscribe button and the little bell to stay notified of all of our new nerdy content. We're glad to have the Bard Tavern Talk back this week off hiatus. Their episode will release later today, as it normally does behind ours. And sign up for the Patreon. Lots of new content out right now on the Patreon. More content to come. Interviews with amazing voice actors like Ryan Colt Levy, Justin Cook, and many, many more to be posted there. So check those out. We also have a special interview that we did with Jason Page that will be on the Patreon very soon. So check that out. All right. Who wants to go first and give us their out of 10?
You got Nerd Squatch?
Okay, yeah.
I say this as an Ant-Man fan, but like 7.5.
Okay, that's still a fair rating. That's a fair rating. 7.5 Squatch Prince out of 10. Brian, how many majestic beards do you give this film?
I'm going to give it 8.5 out of 10 beards.
Okay. All right. I'm going to come right in the middle. 8 bear paws. 8 bear paws out of 10 for this. So 7.5, 8, and 8.5. I think that's a very good average, especially for us. And I mean, come on. It's a Marvel film, guys. It's a Marvel film. Come on.
And we got to see it together.
What did you think we were going to rate it? Come on. And we got to see it together.
I give it a 2.
I got this awesome helmet popcorn bucket, and we have the memories of seeing it together in Pizzicon. Maybe we could do that around June. I don't know what we'll go see, but as long as it's nerdy, I'm down. I'm totally down.
I'm definitely not going to wait
Flash!
to see Guardians.
Oh, Savior of the universe.
Flash comes out the week before Comic-Con.
Okay, we might have to do that Friday night before. Maybe we'll try to get to a local, maybe a B&B theater.
I ain't never been.
B&B theater. That's one of our local theaters here. We have several up here. But we'll try to go and do that. And in the meantime, we're going to get out of here. We hope you enjoyed this exploration into Quantumania with us. We definitely enjoyed having you. In the meantime, I've been the Bear.
I've been the Beard.
And I've been Nerd Squatch.
And we want to remind you, as always, to stay awesome.
Stay bearded.
And much love, guys. We'll see you next episode. We are out of here.
Boom, cut the check.
That was totally wicked!
Thanks for checking out another Bearded Bear Entertainment production. New episodes of this show are released every other Friday at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, in both audio and video format. Audio episodes are available pretty much anywhere you get your podcasts, and YouTube is the only place for video format.
For listeners, subscribe on your app so your device downloads it automatically. And for viewers, subscribe and click that little bell so you're notified about all our new nerdy content. Also, don't forget to follow us on our socials.
Facebook,
Instagram, and
TikTok
are all great places to interact with us.
Many thanks to the rest of our team, all of our geeks of the round table, and all of our awesome friends of the cast. Much love, y'all. Last Lastly, for more cool music like this awesome outro track, go check out HarlequinSoul, Secret Apex on Facebook and Spotify. His links are in the description as well.
Talk at you next episode, nerds.
See you then!